Hi, and welcome back. Now we can start finally getting to some more of the real guts as to whether a lot of the progress will really be made in boosting your EQ. Now that we've got a lot of the background information and stuff done in previous episodes, and the way to really upgrade your EQ really effectively and more smoothly is actually to take the emotions out of it for any particular circumstance you may find yourself in and look at things objectively. Okay. Are you, and look, and by looking at things objectively, I mean, like, are you the perpetrator of this drama that you found yourself in, or this feeling you found yourself in, or the situation you found yourself in? Or are you responding to someone else's choices? How attached to outcome are you in the current predicament? Because to become objective is to take yourself out of yourself basically and actually try to examine it as if you're a fly in the wall and looking and really studying your own actions at the highest level of honesty that you can manage. I mean, really, really honest. Okay, a lot of us have brothers and sisters, etc. I myself have a brother and a sister, and when we were growing up, it would have been, when you're playing games in the back seat and you're playing funny buggers and you whack your brother on the arm type thing and stuff, all child's play type stuff. And then you wonder what later on why you're having a particular repercussion of being told by the parents and stuff. Well, honestly, okay, I did the action that instigated their anger and stuff that caused that effect. Okay, no worries, I can deal with that. Okay. But when you're dealing with other situations that you kind of get stuck in that thought of, well, how did this happen? You know, how did this occur? How did I find myself in this position? Those are the ones we need to like step back and take the emotion out of the situation, get our attachment to the outcome and the situation out of it for a second and look at it from the fly in the wall type of idea and just self-analyze ourselves in such a way that we can take note. My most recent example of this, where I was struggling at the beginning of the year, and so much so that I helped a friend of ours out. I'm always helping people, but like I helped a friend of ours out to take their teenage daughter to this camp in the mountains that was a different type of school. It's a school for leadership, right? And I'd already made the promise that if the mum could drive the child to this mountain retreat type school, that I would do this. And that was all well and good and everything. And anyway, so it was a 7-hour drive one way to go from our place where we currently are up these mountains, a couple of kilometers in the air. And the drive was great, the time and everything and stuff taking there, all good, no worries and stuff. But when I got up the top of the mountain and we found the apartment that we were staying in before we could register the teenager into the school, right? The daughter and the mother had this conversation over the phone that just made it feel so unappreciated for all the efforts and everything and stuff I'd just gone to. And I just felt so unappreciated and so unworthy and all these other negative feelings. And I felt myself spiraling. And there was particular suicidal thoughts in the back of my head that had crept into the forefront again. And and I needed to snap myself out of it. So I needed to look at it from a particular different point of view, take myself out of that particular emotion, take myself out of the feeling of that way, and recognize, okay, how did I find myself in this position feeling this particular way? And when I did that, I realized that I didn't actually choose to be in that position because of any wanting of thanks, nothing in return. No, I wasn't after any gratitude. I wasn't after any validation or anything like that. I remembered choosing it because that's part of who I am. You know, I chose it because my integrity as a person was the fact that I make a promise and I stick to that promise and to the best of my ability. And in this particular circumstance, my best of my ability was to drive 7 hours up a mountain. And when I realized that, the feelings and stuff of the insecurity and validations and that sort of stuff, the wanting for those feelings and stuff all dissipated. Okay. But I had to take ownership of the fact of I chose to be there. It does not matter what they say, what they do, as long as I know who I am. When I know who I am, I can achieve anything I set my mind to for myself and for others. I can give unconditionally in the way that I know best. You know? So we have to separate ourselves from outcome, and sometimes to understand why we feel a particular way in any particular moment, we need to actually, again, separate ourselves from outcome and separate ourselves from the actual emotion so we can actually have a look as to where that emotion was stimulated. And in this particular circumstance that I just mentioned, it was stimulated from the fact that I was tired and I thought I had done a really great job and I did not self validate. And for some reason, at that particular time, I can't remember at the moment, but for some reason, I thought I was owed a validation externally when I was not. You would have been nice, but when I separated that feeling out, I no longer needed it. I could congratulate myself. You know what? It was scary driving up that mountain, and I think I did a good job of getting us up there safely. And I got us on, like, actually early. We got up there in so much time that you can actually enjoy more of the mountain and stuff before joining in with the rest of the school group. And early enough also that I got plenty of rest that night to make the trip back home down the mountain and back home 7 hours down the road smoother on my own, you know? So we need to make sure that we're being very honest with ourselves, you know? To be able to do this type of accountability, we need to be incredibly honest with ourselves, okay? If we're feeling down, there's most likely there's an expectation external to ourselves that we were seeking when we did whatever it was the action was. So I will expand on this. I'm trying to get as many of these concepts out so more people can understand that it's okay to feel these different ways, but there are solutions as well. And the solutions will always be oncoming. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.